Yeah. I will say another thing I picked up consistently this weekend, which I've mentioned before, the regard that people have for JD Vance and the role he's played and the role he's going to play is quite high. And that's even amongst people at the convention. I go back to the convention. At the convention, when it seemed like Trump was headed towards picking Vance, again, I've talked about this before. There were very full-on MAGA people, both close to Trump and not, who thought it was a horrible pick, disastrous pick. And even after he was picked, there were people who said, not so great. I don't hear any of that now. People are sky high about him and about how he's handled his portfolio so far and their expectations for him. Sean, what do you think about my reporting and analysis of your departing neighbor?
Well, he has departed. The moving
Yeah.
vans were there.
Okay.
So and all of the barricades got pulled away.
Did they own
Yeah,
that
this
house or they rent that house?
well, I assume they own it. Yes,
They own
they
it.
do.
And
Yeah.
and I don't think
Now
they sold it as far as I know. So
I don't believe so. I'll let you know if
okay.
there's a sign that goes up
Yeah.
or if
Okay.
renters move in.
Yeah.
But I will say this. I think you're absolutely right in terms of your analysis and what you're hearing. He is, I think he is the future. And the funniest thing about this is that, we all know, I mean, everyone in Washington is always plotting, well, okay, well, I'll do this and then 4 years later and I'll run for this office. And I think JD has completely upended that because for so many people who are biding their time, trying to figure out how I can run, if he keeps going the way he's going, I mean, I don't even know that there'll actually be a primary.
That's such a good point. There were people this weekend, it really stunned me, who said, like, they're talking about Vance 28 like it was
Yeah.
like a foregone conclusion. Like, here's how it'll sequence out into 29. I was really surprised. Dan, do you have a sense, speak for the entire Democratic Party, as we often ask you to do. Do they find Vance to be like a star? Do they think he's a hack? Like, what do they think of Vance in your party?
I think the opinion of Vance has changed during the campaign. I think at first there was a little bit of like, he's a gaff machine, he's out over his skis, like maybe the stage is a little too big. I think now he's good. He's disciplined.
Yeah.
He is a little bit
Yep.
of a happy warrior. Like,
Yeah.
even though he
A,
can be
a
kind of
lot of
stern and yeah,
a lot of a happy warrior. That's
yeah.
a
And
great
And
so
point.
I
great,
think
just the story is so great. I mean, just in terms of what he has overcome personally, um,
totally.
I think it's a great story. He's so articulate. I mean, he puts on a master class when you hear him do an interview with folks, and he has armed with such knowledge that it's great. I mean, both him and Rubio to me are
Yeah.
some of the best
Well,
people to watch on
and
shows.
if I'm a
Dan,
Democrat, you're
yeah.
thinking, okay, Trump has this new coalition. It is a working class coalition that has become kind of racial ethnic coalition. JD Vance, to your point, Sean, with that personal story, can be someone who can inherit it, right? Like
Yeah.
Ted Cruz and even, Marco Rubio, it's a little disjointed. When
Yeah.
you think of somebody who I could naturally see take that mantle with a little bit of, less, or a little more polish, a little less kind of, blowtorch, but still forceful, he's the guy.
I'm recycling my best JD Vance line today. I believe it's only the third time I've used it, and I'm always entitled to use all my good content 3 times. He speaks fluent MAGA with a suburban accent. And go if you haven't ever read it or don't remember it, go read the interview he did with Ross Douthat of the New York Times. This guy, and again, you hear it all weekend. This guy, remember his career, not his childhood that Sean referenced. This guy is such a big player in the tech world. And I'm telling you, one thing that was on vivid display this weekend, we talked about it last week. The Democratic Party needs a plan right now to not be wiped out of corporate donations because because they don't have the majority. And JD Vance is going to raise a fortune and spend a ton of time with the donor community. Silicon Valley, they're going to make
Mark, I
inroads
don't know about you.
in
Walking around this
Hollywood.
weekend, to your point,
Yeah.
I have been blown. I mean, people are walking around with their wallet open this weekend at
Yes.
these events.
I've never
They,
seen this.
it is mind-boggling.